Close your eyes for a moment and just breathe. Life is not always kind. There are days when everything feels heavy, when your heart carries more than your hands can hold. There are mornings when you wake up tired, not from sleep, but from life itself. And in those moments, happiness feels distant, like something meant for others, not for you. Happiness is often seen as something that arrives when everything in life finally falls into place. People wait for the right moment, the right success, the right relationship, the right circumstances, believing that only then will they feel truly at peace. But this way of thinking quietly takes away your power, because it places your inner state in the hands of the outside world, which is always changing, always uncertain, and never fully in your control. Happiness is not a condition that depends on what happens around you. It is a choice that begins within you, even when life feels incomplete, messy, or difficult. It does not require perfection. It does not wait for problems to disappear. It exists in the space between your thoughts, in the way you respond to what life gives you. Every day, you are faced with situations that test your patience, your strength, and your peace. Some things go your way, and many things do not. If your happiness depends only on good outcomes, then it will always be fragile, always temporary, always slipping away the moment life becomes challenging. But when you understand that happiness is a choice, you begin to realize that it is not something that can be taken from you so easily. Choosing happiness does not mean pretending that everything is fine when it is not. It does not mean ignoring pain, denying struggles, or forcing a smile when your heart feels heavy. It means allowing yourself to feel everything fully, while still deciding that your inner peace matters. It means you acknowledge the difficulty, but you do not let it define your entire experience. In the middle of a hard day, happiness can be as simple as taking a deep breath and grounding yourself in the present moment. It can be noticing something small and beautiful that you would normally overlook. It can be choosing not to react with anger, even when you feel provoked. These small decisions may seem insignificant, but they slowly shape the way you experience your life. Your mind has a natural tendency to focus on what is wrong, what is missing, what could go better. It drifts toward worry, comparison, and regret. If you follow this pattern without awareness, you will always feel like something is lacking. But when you consciously shift your focus, even slightly, you begin to change your internal world. You start to see that there is more than just struggle, more than just pressure, more than just fear. Happiness as a choice is a quiet kind of power. It does not demand attention or recognition. It does not need perfect conditions to exist. It grows in silence, in awareness, in small, consistent decisions that you make throughout your day. It is present when you choose gratitude instead of complaint, acceptance instead of resistance, calm instead of chaos. There will be moments when choosing happiness feels difficult, almost impossible. In those moments, it is not about forcing yourself to feel good. It is about not giving up on the possibility that peace still exists within you, even if you cannot fully feel it yet. It is about staying open, staying aware, and reminding yourself that your inner state is not completely controlled by your circumstances. When you begin to live this way, you no longer wait for life to change before you allow yourself to feel better. You start to create small pockets of peace within your current reality. You begin to understand that happiness is not something you find at the end of a journey, but something you practice along the way, again and again, in every moment that asks you to choose how you will respond. Strength is often imagined as something powerful, unshakable, and visible to the world. People think of it as confidence, control, and certainty, something that only exists when life is going smoothly. But real strength does not reveal itself in comfort. It does not grow when everything is easy and predictable. It is shaped quietly, in the moments when you feel tested, when things do not go as planned, when life places weight on your shoulders that you did not ask for. Difficult moments have a way of exposing what lies beneath the surface. They strip away illusions, expectations, and the sense of control you thought you had. In these moments, you are faced with your thoughts, your emotions, and your reactions in their rawest form. This is where strength begins to grow, not as something loud or dramatic, but as something steady and real. When life becomes challenging, your first instinct may be to resist it, to wish things were different, to search for a way out. But within that discomfort lies an opportunity, a chance to discover parts of yourself that remain hidden during easier times. You begin to see how you respond under pressure, how you carry pain, how you find your way forward even when the path is unclear. Strength is not about never feeling fear or doubt. It is about continuing despite them. It is about showing up when your energy is low, when your motivation is gone, when your mind is filled with uncertainty. In these moments, even the smallest step forward becomes meaningful. Even the decision to keep going, no matter how slowly, becomes an act of courage. There is a quiet resilience that forms when you face difficulties without running away from them. It does not mean you have all the answers. It does not mean you feel strong all the time. It means you are willing to stay present with what is happening, to experience it fully, and to move through it in your own way. This kind of strength cannot be taught through words alone. It is learned through experience, through living, through facing what is hard and not turning away. Each challenge you encounter leaves something behind. It may not always feel like growth in the moment, but over time, you begin to notice a shift. Things that once overwhelmed you become more manageable. Situations that once caused fear become easier to face. You develop a deeper understanding of yourself, a greater awareness of your inner world, and a stronger connection to your ability to endure. Strength also comes from accepting that you are human. You will have moments of weakness, moments where you feel lost, moments where you question everything. These experiences do not take away your strength. They are part of it. They remind you that growth is not a straight line, that resilience is built through both struggle and recovery. When you go through difficult times, it may feel like you are breaking, but often you are being reshaped. The pressure you feel is not only a burden, it is also a force that is helping you expand beyond who you were before. You begin to carry yourself differently, think differently, and respond differently, not because life has become easier, but because you have changed through what you have faced. Over time, you realize that strength is not something you were missing. It was always within you, waiting to be discovered through the challenges that life brings, waiting to emerge in the moments when you choose to stand, to continue, and to face what is in front of you with whatever you have in that moment. Pushing yourself is often misunderstood as forcing, as applying pressure, as demanding more from yourself no matter how you feel. It is usually associated with discipline that ignores emotion, with effort that comes at the cost of peace. But there is a different way to move forward, a quieter and more sustainable way, where growth does not come from harshness, but from understanding. To push yourself gently means to listen before you act. It means becoming aware of your limits without letting them define you. It is the balance between effort and compassion, where you still move forward, but you do not punish yourself in the process. You recognize that you are human, that your energy shifts, that your emotions are real, and instead of fighting them, you work with them. There are days when your mind is clear, your energy is strong, and moving forward feels natural. On those days, effort comes easily. But there are also days when everything feels heavy, when even simple tasks feel overwhelming. In those moments, forcing yourself can create resistance, frustration, and even burnout. Gentle pushing is about adjusting your pace, not stopping completely, but not overwhelming yourself either. It is the ability to take one small step when a big step feels impossible. It is choosing progress over perfection, movement over stillness, even if that movement is slow and almost invisible. You do not need to do everything at once. You do not need to prove your strength by exhausting yourself. Real growth often happens in small, consistent actions that you repeat with patience. When you push yourself gently, you create a sense of trust within yourself. You begin to feel safe in your own effort because you know you will not push beyond what you can handle. This trust allows you to stay consistent because you are no longer afraid of your own expectations. You are not chasing an unrealistic version of yourself. You are supporting the person you are right now. There is also a deep awareness involved in this approach. You start to notice when you are tired, when your mind needs rest, when your body needs care. Instead of ignoring these signals, you respond to them with understanding. This does not mean you give up easily. It means you become wiser in how you use your energy, more intentional in how you move forward. Gentle pushing also changes the way you speak to yourself. The inner voice becomes softer, more encouraging, more patient. Instead of saying that you are not doing enough, you begin to recognize what you are doing, no matter how small it may seem. This shift in language creates a different internal environment, one that supports growth instead of resisting it. Over time, this way of moving forward becomes more powerful than force. It allows you to continue even during difficult periods because you are not relying on intensity alone. You are building a rhythm, a steady flow that adapts to your life rather than fighting against it. You become more consistent, not because you are pushing harder, but because you are pushing smarter. You also begin to understand that growth is not always visible. There are moments when it feels like nothing is changing, when progress seems slow or non-existent. But even in those moments, something is happening beneath the surface. Each small effort, each gentle push is shaping your habits, your mindset, and your resilience in ways that take time to reveal themselves. By approaching yourself with patience and awareness, you remove the unnecessary pressure that often leads to frustration. You allow yourself to grow at a natural pace, one that is aligned with who you are and where you are in your journey. You continue to move forward, not through force, but through a steady and mindful commitment to yourself. Darkness is something everyone experiences, yet few truly understand. It is not only the absence of light, but the presence of confusion, pain, doubt, and uncertainty. It shows up in moments when life feels heavy, when nothing seems to make sense, when the path ahead disappears and all you can see is what is going wrong. In these moments, the natural reaction is to focus entirely on the darkness, to believe that it is all there is and that it will last forever. But even in the deepest darkness, there is always some form of light, even if it is small, distant, or difficult to notice. The challenge is not that light disappears, but that your attention becomes consumed by what feels overwhelming. When your mind is filled with worry or pain, it narrows your vision. It highlights every problem, every fear, every negative thought, making them feel larger than they truly are. Finding light in darkness is not about denying what you are going through. It is not about pretending that everything is fine or forcing yourself to feel positive when you are struggling. It is about expanding your awareness, allowing yourself to see beyond the immediate weight of the moment. It is about recognizing that your experience is not limited to just one perspective. Sometimes, light appears in the simplest forms. It can be a quiet moment of stillness in the middle of chaos. It can be a breath that brings you back to the present when your mind is racing. It can be a small act of kindness, either given or received, that reminds you that there is still goodness in the world. These moments may seem insignificant, but they carry a subtle power that can shift your state, even if only slightly. Your mind has a tendency to overlook these small sources of light because it is trained to focus on problems. It searches for what needs to be fixed, what needs to be controlled, what could go wrong. This pattern is natural, but it can also keep you trapped in a cycle of negativity, if you are not aware of it. When you begin to consciously notice even the smallest positive detail, you start to break that cycle. There is also a deeper kind of light that exists within you, independent of external circumstances. It is your awareness, your ability to observe your thoughts and emotions without becoming completely lost in them. Even when you feel overwhelmed, there is a part of you that is still present, still aware, still capable of witnessing what is happening. This awareness is a form of light because it creates space between you and your experience. In difficult times, this inner light may feel faint, almost invisible, but it does not disappear. It remains steady beneath the surface, waiting for you to reconnect with it. The more you bring your attention to it, the more it grows. You begin to feel less controlled by your thoughts, less consumed by your emotions, and more grounded in the present moment. Finding light in darkness also requires patience. It is not something that always happens instantly. There are moments when the darkness feels too strong, when the light feels out of reach. In those moments, the act of simply looking for light becomes meaningful. The intention itself creates a shift, even if you cannot fully feel it yet. Over time, this practice changes the way you experience life. You begin to understand that darkness is not something to fear, but something to move through with awareness. You learn that even when life feels uncertain, there are still small points of clarity, still moments of peace, still reasons to continue. As you continue to notice these moments, no matter how small, you begin to build a different relationship with your experiences. You no longer see darkness as something that completely defines your reality, but as a part of it, something that exists alongside light, something that does not have the power to fully take over unless you allow it to consume your awareness. The mind has a powerful tendency to drift away from the present moment. It moves into the past, replaying what has already happened, analyzing mistakes, holding on to regret, or wishing things had been different. At the same time, it reaches into the future, imagining outcomes, creating scenarios, building expectations, and often filling those expectations with fear or uncertainty. In both directions, the mind pulls you away from what is actually happening right now. When you become lost in pain, it is often because your attention is fully absorbed in these mental patterns. You are not just experiencing a situation as it is, but also the layers of thoughts and emotions that surround it. A single moment can feel much heavier when it is combined with memories of the past and worries about the future. This is how pain grows, not only from what is happening, but from how the mind holds onto it and expands it. Staying present is not about eliminating thoughts or forcing your mind to be completely still. It is about becoming aware of where your attention is and gently bringing it back when it drifts too far. It is a practice of noticing again and again that you are caught in thought, and then returning to what is real in this moment. The present moment is often much simpler than the stories your mind creates. It is your breath moving in and out, the feeling of your body where you are sitting or standing, the sounds around you, the subtle details that exist without needing interpretation. When you bring your awareness to these things, you create a small distance between yourself and your thoughts. That distance allows you to experience life more directly, without the extra weight of mental noise. Pain feels overwhelming when it becomes your entire focus. When your attention is locked onto it, it can seem like there is nothing else. But when you stay present, you begin to see that even within difficult moments, there are other elements that exist alongside the pain. There may be calm in your breath, stability in your body, or quietness in your surroundings. These elements do not remove the pain, but they balance it, making it feel less consuming. There is also a sense of control that comes with presence. You may not be able to change what has already happened, and you may not be able to predict what will come next, but you can influence how you experience this moment. By choosing to stay present, You are choosing not to let your mind take you too far into places that increase your suffering. This does not mean that you ignore your past or avoid thinking about your future. Both have their place, and both can be useful when approached with awareness. The difference is that you do not allow them to take over your entire experience. You return to them when needed, but you do not live in them constantly. Staying present also requires patience with yourself. Your mind will wander, sometimes without you even realizing it. You may find yourself lost in thought for long periods of time before you notice. This is part of the process. Each time you become aware and return to the present, you strengthen your ability to stay grounded. Over time, this practice changes your relationship with pain. It becomes something you can observe rather than something that completely defines you. You begin to experience it in smaller, more manageable pieces instead of as one overwhelming force. You create space within yourself, space that allows you to respond more calmly, more clearly, and with greater awareness. The more you return to the present, the more you realize that this moment, as it is often not as heavy as the version created by your thoughts. It becomes a place where you can rest, even briefly, from the constant movement of the mind, a place where you can reconnect with a sense of calm that exists beneath the surface of everything you are experiencing. Peace is often treated as something distant, something that exists only when life becomes calm, when problems are solved, when everything finally aligns the way you want it to. It is imagined as a reward at the end of struggle, a state you reach after you have fixed everything that feels broken. But if you wait for life to become perfect before allowing yourself to feel peace, you may spend most of your time feeling restless, unsettled, and incomplete. Choosing peace is not about changing everything around you. It is about changing how you relate to what is happening within you. It is a quiet decision that you make again and again in the middle of ordinary moments, especially when those moments feel difficult or uncomfortable. It is not a one-time choice, but a continuous practice that requires awareness and intention. Every day presents situations that can pull you out of balance. Small frustrations, unexpected challenges, and moments of discomfort can quickly turn into stress if you react without awareness. The mind tends to resist what it does not like. It pushes against reality, wishing things were different, creating tension in the process. This resistance is what often takes away your sense of peace, not the situation itself, but your reaction to it. When you choose peace, you begin to notice this pattern. You become aware of the moment when tension starts to rise, when your thoughts begin to spiral, when your emotions become intense. Instead of immediately reacting, you create a small pause. In that pause, you have a choice. You can continue the pattern of resistance, or you can soften your response and allow things to be as they are, even if you do not fully like them. This does not mean that you become passive or that you stop caring about your life. It means you respond from a place of clarity rather than from a place of reactivity. You can still take action, make decisions, and move forward, but you do so without the unnecessary weight of inner conflict. Your actions become more intentional, more grounded, and more aligned with your well-being. Choosing peace also involves letting go of the need to control everything. Life is unpredictable, and no matter how much you plan or prepare, there will always be elements that are beyond your control. Holding on to the need for certainty creates tension because reality does not always match your expectations. When you begin to accept that uncertainty is a natural part of life, you release some of that tension, making space for a calmer state of mind. There is also an inner dialogue that plays a significant role in your sense of peace. The way you speak to yourself can either create calm or increase stress. When your inner voice is critical, impatient, or harsh, it becomes difficult to feel at ease. But when that voice becomes more understanding and supportive, your internal environment begins to shift. You feel less pressure, less resistance, and more acceptance of who you are and where you are. Peace is not something that eliminates challenges. Difficult situations will still arise, and emotions will still come and go. The difference is that you are no longer completely controlled by them. You experience them, but you do not become lost in them. You maintain a sense of stability, even when things around you are uncertain. Over time, as you continue to choose peace in small, everyday moments, it becomes more natural. It becomes less of a conscious effort and more of a way of being. You start to carry a sense of calm within you that is not easily shaken by external events. You begin to understand that peace is not dependent on everything going your way, but on your ability to remain centered within yourself. In this way, each moment becomes an opportunity not to escape life, but to meet it with a calmer, clearer, and more balanced state of mind, where peace is no longer something you search for outside, but something you return to within yourself again and again, through the choices you make in how you think, how you respond, and how you allow life to unfold without constant resistance. When you step back and see the whole picture, it becomes clear that happiness, strength, gentle persistence, finding light in darkness, staying present, and choosing peace are not separate lessons. They are threads of the same fabric. Life will not always be easy, and challenges will come without warning, but the way you respond shapes the quality of your experience. Every choice you make, whether to notice a moment of gratitude, to take one small step forward, to breathe through fear, to focus on what is real right now, or to allow yourself calm amid chaos, builds a foundation for a life that feels fuller, steadier, and more alive. True growth is not found in perfection, but in consistency, awareness, and the courage to keep moving, even when the path is unclear. By embracing these practices, you create a life where joy is possible every day, not because life is always easy, but because you have cultivated the inner strength and presence to find it within yourself.